I want to tell my final thoughts on what I think is really going to happen tonight. But first, I want to tell my polling story. Someone said that was a lame song. That's not true. That's a smash hit. I need to get signed for that little song. So I went over to my polling station today, and I actually started a huge debacle. Like, the people who ran the polling station needed to come out. I brought a whole entourage to the polling station. So anyway, I'm in line. I'm having a good time with my Che Guevara shirt on. You know what I'm saying, just looking real swaggy. And I get to vote, and apparently I had the mail-in ballot or something. They always do this to me, so I had to vote on provisional ballot because I guess I had the mail-in, but I didn't get it in the mail. So I had to vote provisional. So I went down. I voted all Republican and independent, although there were some pretty whack options. It was like the one independent guy was like, food industry businessman. I was like, I can't think of a crummier businessman than a food industry businessman. It's like, man, they really got low options here. But I voted all Republican. It's kind of just a protest vote. My personal thoughts are, I'm in California. I don't think John Cox is going to win. I think Gavin Newsom's going to win. I'm not too excited about it, but I would think it would take a Festivus miracle for Cox to win. I don't think he will, but I do think California will go red in like 4 to 6 years maybe, but not now. That's just my personal thoughts. I just went down the ballot, and then I left some of the props blank. Some of the ones I knew about, I voted. Anyway, enough about me. Enough about the polling. So I get out. And my idea was, because where my polling station was, I'm in Los Angeles County. Where my polling station was like, it's like festered with like homeless people in tents. It's so creepy that last time I went to go vote, I walked there instead of, it was a long walk, but I walked there instead of like driving or taking an Uber. And I actually didn't vote in the first election, like the pre-midterm election, because it was so creepy. I just wanted to get out of there. So I saw like 50 tents, 20 tents. So I wanted to take a picture of the tents under the overpass because I was like, this is ridiculous. It's right next to my polling station. It looks terrible and it's just creepy. So of course, being, probably not very wise, I went out into the middle of like the overpass so I could take really good pictures of both sides because there were like dozens of homeless people under this homeless underpass, and it was right next to. So I'm taking pictures of the people. Maybe they're homeless, maybe they're just traveling, maybe they're chilling. I don't want to judge them. And two of them say, "Oh, what are you taking pictures for, man? What are you doing?" And they start running after me. So I'm getting chased by multiple homeless people, or I don't want to say they're homeless. Maybe they have a home and they're just chilling. Like I said, they're travelers who are just chilling under the underpass, whatever. They start sprinting after me, and I'm like running away. I'm like, oh, shoot, I was just trying to take pictures for Twitter and Instagram. I got Starbucks. Like, I'm just a whack hipster. I'm sorry. So I'm running away, and I run back to my polling station because I think they won't chase me back to the polling station, but I was wrong. One of the guys actually chased me all the way back to the homeless station, the voting station, and he like comes right outside, and he points at me from outside. He's on a bicycle. He's a little bit dirty, but a nice guy though. So he points at me and he's like, "Yo, what did you take the picture for, dog?" And I was like, my man, I defused the situation real quick. I said, I'm just an independent journalist. I just wanted to take pictures of all the tents. I was like, if you feel like you're disrespected or you don't want me to take the pictures, I'll just delete them. It's not, I don't need to post, pictures of the tents. Although I do want to do like a whole documentary. Los Angeles County is insanely like disgusting in many ways. There's like tens of thousands of tents everywhere you go. Every time you drive onto the highway, there's tents. Outside my polling station, there's tents. It's like the whole city's being taken over by like homeless tent lands. So I was just trying to take a picture of it, but he chased me back to the polling station. I come out and, I was just like, I'll delete him. He ended up being really chill because I was chill. I could have been like, yo, I'm taking pictures of you, dog. But I was like, if you want me to delete them, I'll delete them. If you feel disrespected by my pictures, no intended. I just wanted to. So I shook hands with him. And then we started talking. He said, what do you do? I said, hip-hop artist, independent journalism. Oh, for sure. What do you know about the 5 elements of hip-hop? So then I said, b-boying, that's 1. Breakdancing, b-boying. You got rapping, that's 2. DJing, that's 3. And I couldn't think of the 4th and 5th. And he said the 4th is a graffiti, which is true. I know that's definitely an element of hip-hop. And then one of them he said was understanding. I don't know if that's true. I know that the first 4 are true, but he said understanding of hip hop culture as part of hip hop. So me and this guy, after he was ready to like, come after me or something, although, I'm pretty fast, pretty tall, pretty strong. I'm not saying I want to fight a homeless guy or a traveler. I'm just saying, if it happened, we'll see what happens. But, he was being really chill. And then we're like hitting it off. We're like good friends now. So I'm like, man, I love hip hop. He loves hip hop. He brings out his cell phone. He's got a picture of him and Be Real from Cypress Hill. So I'm like, oh, for sure, for sure. And then, so here's where it gets extra crazy. Besides the fact that I'm getting chased to my polling station by homeless people, this lady comes up. So I'm just gonna let you know their skin color, because it's not like I'm a Democrat trying to pull on your heartstrings. It actually matters for the story. This dude is African American. I think he's black, but he's light skinned. And then this lady who's like way blacker than him shows up to vote. And she starts screaming at this guy. She starts calling him the N-word, and she's like, get the F out of it. She's screaming at this guy, calling him a loser, saying he's ugly. And then I feel really bad, because this homeless guy, although he was like sprinting after me, he ended up being really nice, and I was like having a good time with him. At a certain point I was like, all right, I gotta go, my man. Like, we can't do this all day. But I don't know if she needed to scream at him, but she was like, you're a loser, this and that, you're ugly, I'm voting, get out of here, like, this is my right, F you. And then I'm like, oh no. And then like the polling guy comes out, and then like, and I was basically like, I'm sorry I started this. And he was like, no, it probably has nothing to do with you. And I was like, no, it has everything to do with me. I was like, I pretty much facilitated this whole situation. Not purposely, but I was taking pictures of the people under the underpass, literally there were like 10 tents and like 20 to 30 people under the underpass right next to my polling station. I was like, oh, let me get some snapshots of this. We'll talk about it. And I got chased back to the polling station, ended up being friends with the homeless guy. He starts yelling at the lady. This whole mess comes. The polling station, like, guy comes out. And then I met a girl there, and I was taking her back to work. But he was like trying to get her number, and he like offered her money. He was like, yo, if you want, I want your number. And he like took money out of his wallet and was like gonna pay this girl just to get her number. Anyway, definitely not a normal polling experience. Definitely more interesting than the last time when I voted for Jill Stein. Overall, a lot to be learned here. One, Los Angeles is, what Trump would probably call a SHIT hole. And I wouldn't take offense of it. I just think like someone needs to like clean up the streets and clean up the city a little bit. I'm not even talking about like crime, which obviously they do. Like, people are getting robbed left and right. My friend got robbed. People get robbed all the time just because they're not paying attention, or I don't know, they leave their, I don't know. Anyway, people need to clean up the city. It's disgusting. There's dirt everywhere. There's tents everywhere. So that is to be learned. And also, some homeless people are chill. That could be learned. I liked him. He was a cool guy. Or he's a traveler. I don't want to disrespect him. And I don't know. I was just like, man, this is a real voting experience. So I dipped out of there, caused huge chaos. Sorry to anybody that had to deal with that after I left. So anyway, I voted all red. I think that it's going to be a red wave, personally. But if there's a blue wave, I think there's going to be a blue wave, because here's what Democrats did very successfully that I didn't see Republicans do. Maybe I'm wrong. I think it's going to be a red wave, but Democrats did a good job of putting out like internet sheets, like they like basically tricking people into voting all Democrat. Like, I was talking to some people online, and I was like, hey, how are you going to decide how to vote for the props? And they're like, oh, I got this sheet on social media. So a lot of people are actually following the celebrities and the liberal leaders, where they're like, here's who to vote for, here's why you should do it, and they do it. I saw people emailed me like they were trying to trick Asian Americans who could barely speak English by putting Chinese like things and tricking them into voting Democrat. Democrats did a very good job with like these tricky academia, putting them on college campuses, giving them to Asian people who can't read English that well. Like they had a good strategy to try to get everyone to vote Democrat. And also they did text marketing. A lot of people got a lot of texts from the Democratic Party. So if they win, I think it's going to be because they did a lot of that stuff. If they lose, it's going to be because they've lost millions of lifelong liberals. They've lost Green Party voters, Bernie Sanders socialists. They've lost moderates. They've lost like normal independents. They've lost pretty much everybody outside of like that cult-like ideology, or if they could weaponize people based off hate and fear to dislike all the good things the president's doing. it could go either way. So I'm gonna open up to you guys, and we're gonna hear what you guys have to say. But overall, I don't think anybody should be too cocky. I think people should be excited and whatnot, but never get too cocky, because the game's never over till it's over. Who's gonna win this election is who shows up. I'll tell you. I mean, I live in California, but Democrats are showing up in droves. Republicans are showing up in droves. If you want it, go get it. If you don't, stay at home and don't vote. Doesn't really matter. Up to you, really. So, I don't think it's in the bag, but I definitely think that it's going to be a red wave. We'll see. Now we'll open it up for 10, 20 minutes, and we'll see what you guys have to say. Any questions you want to ask? Or we could do a, if you have any stories, I'll just kind of read them.